proportion sets two ratios as equal. And when we're doing proportions, we usually write the ratios in fraction form. To see if two ratios are equal, we find the cross product. If the two numbers have to be the same. So here's what we mean by that. In this case, we have 7/8, and we're trying to see, does it equal 35 over 40? So we do the cross product. We take 7 times 40, and we get 280. And then we take 8 times 35, and we get 280. And those are equal, which means that yes, this is a proportion. Those two ratios were equal to each other. So again, we took 7 times 40, and then 8 times 35. Now, if those numbers had ended up being different, the answer would be no, that's not a proportion because those two ratios would not be equal. To solve a proportion, we find the cross product and then solve the equation. So in this problem, we had 7/5 equals x over 45. We find the cross product if we take 7 times 45, which is 315. We write equals between it, and then we do 5 times x, which is 5x. And then we solve that. So we're going to divide by the number that's in front of x. 315 divided by 5 is 63. So we get x is equal to 63. We'll do the same sort of thing with this problem. So we'll start by doing the cross product. I'm going to write it out a little bit more carefully this time. So we have 18 times x plus 2. Because there's more than one number on that top, we need to put it in parentheses. Equals x times 24. We'll write that as 24x. Now on the left-hand side, we need to get rid of those parentheses, so we get 18x plus 36 equals 24x. Because there's nothing else on this side besides that x, I'm going to subtract 18x on both sides and leave the number on the left. So that leaves me with 36 equals 6x. We'll divide both sides by 6, and we get x is equal to 6. So the real power of proportions is to help us solve word problems. A tree casts a shadow of 25 feet long. The same time of day, a 5-foot tall man casts a shadow of 2.5 feet long. How tall is the tree? In this situation, we have two things going on. We're talking about shadows and we're talking about height. So let's write that down. We also have two other things. We also have a tree and we have a man. So if we use this to kind of help us keep track of things, to label things, it will help us put the numbers in the right spot. So the first part tells us the tree casts a shadow of 25 feet long. So we want to put that under the tree and in the shadow spot. At the same time of day, a man is 5 feet tall. So that's his actual height. So that's going to go across from the height and under the man. And he casts a shadow that is 2.5 feet long. So that's a shadow for the man. So we want to put that here. And then it says, how tall is the tree? So that's the actual height of the tree. So that's where our x goes. And this little box helps us set it up. So then now we can write 25 over x equals 2.5 over 5. We can draw our line, cross multiply, find the cross product. So 5 times 25 is 125 equals x times 2.5, we'll just write as 2.5x. We'll divide both sides by the number that's in front of x. That leaves us with x equals 50. So remember the question was how tall is the tree? So we find out that the tree is 50 feet tall. Mary is baking a batch of chocolate chip cookies. The recipe calls for 7 cups of flour and 5 cups of sugar. 5 3/5 cups of sugar. She is short on flour and cuts the recipes down to 5 cups of flour. How much sugar should she add to keep the cookie dough in her smaller recipe in proportion? So we have a couple of things here. We have flour and we have sugar. But then we also have her big recipe and her smaller recipe. So in the real recipe, in the big recipe, she has 7 cups of flour and 5 3/5 cups of sugar. And she doesn't have enough flour, so she cuts it down to 5 cups of flour. And we want to know how much sugar should she use, so that's our x. So we have 7 over 5 3/5 equals 5 over x. Multiply 7 times x is 7x. And then we'll multiply 5 3/5. Now you can do that in your calculator with the fraction button. And that gives us 28. Then we'll divide both sides by 7, which is x equals 4. So remember what the question was asking. It was asking how much sugar should she use, and it's 4 cups of sugar. Medicine is administered at a rate of 5.5 milligrams per 6 kilograms of weight. So how much medicine should be administered to a child who weighs 24 kilograms? So we have milligrams of medicine and kilograms of weight. In this case, we have the dosage and we have the child. So it says 5.5 milligrams for 6 kilograms. And then the child weighs 24 kilograms. So we're trying to figure out how much medicine to give the child. So that's our x. So we'll set up our proportion. 5.5 over 6 is equal to x over 24. Cross multiply, find the cross product. So 5.5 times 24 is 132. And then 6 times x is 6x. We'll divide by the number that's in front of x. So 132 divided by 6 is 22. The question asked how much medicine. Remember that this was measured in milligrams, so the answer would be 22 milligrams. And that should help with this section.